run of dailies and other things to get the day going. Each day when I log in, I'm shooting to generally finish 100 quests, so I get the gold chest here. Some other tertiary stuff that I want to do is offering to the ancient gods. You can check out your quests here if you want. But this is something that I want to finish today. Captain Manilusk, which you need to go to Dire Galleon for, and Scar Plains. The Horn, I want to get that. I don't usually do Gears of War unless I'm already crafting something for like a set bonus or something that day. Crafting for some classes can make sense if you're not too concerned about getting bonuses on legendaries, or the L set more appropriately. Let's see, and then we could probably do some guild quests later. Okay, cool. Another good way to like gauge what you should do is that little indicator on your map, and you want to check out basically what you have to do today. There's certain bonuses that you can get for doing various things. One of the things that we'll be focusing on right away is, doing Lord Invasion, offering to the Ancient Gods, which, as I mentioned earlier, is tackling 2 raids, and maybe we'll do some guild quests afterwards. So, yeah, let's get this show on the road. Just as a note, like before you actually do dailies, it's good to get rid of most of your stamina, right? Because in Crusaders of Light, the way that you get stamina back is by just doing things. And there's a limited amount on like various things you can do in game that are actually going to reward you stamina. So yeah, okay, cool. I guess that's basically it. Let's create team, and we'll go to Goblin Camp. Okay, so early on in the game, I figured out for some people that the best way to get rewards, essentially, or loot, is from Goblin Camp. It drops the best drops, essentially, for dismantling, because most of the gear that we're just going to get out of there is just sort of garbage gear. It's not something that, with my level of gear or a higher level player's gear, it's not something that we're going to be super attracted to wearing or utilizing. So just putting it out there that this is primarily for disenchanting and gathering, how would you put it? Let me switch the account here. I'm switching over to log my alt on so I can run him with me. But yeah, like I was saying, the best way to level up your actual runes is by dismantling a bunch of gear. And then you get bloodline essences, or let's see, let's find one where I can actually get the name of it. Or you get arcane essence, or you get void essence. Additionally, you can get the purple one, which is for this tier, and that is called Phantom Essence. Right, so bloodline, the yellow, blue, and purple. Okay, cool. So let's get some people going here, and we'll get people in the group, and we'll start doing our dailies. Okay, looks like we have an application. Little something. Yeah, nice name. Let's just auto match. We don't really care who's in here. This instance is just so easy. Okay, cool. So we've got 3 people. That's the minimum to get into one of the dungeons, and let's get this show on the road. You can get up to rewards. You can get rewards for your first 3 runs in anything. So let's get this show on the road. And it's definitely like low enough gear that you don't really need to worry about things. Okay, cool. So my alt is online. It's nice to have an alt. You can basically just drag them along with you, and then take their gold for your main or whatnot. And additionally, like you saw, I've been online with my alt so many times that we have a rapport or a reputation together called Brotherhood level, and that allows me to do an automatic call up for the alt basically whenever I want. So yeah, that's basically it. It's really nice and convenient. Whenever I get crystals off Kawi, I can go on the market and just sell them to him, to Olcon for 1,300 apiece, which is the max amount that I can sell crystals for. So when I do this, I'm able to transfer a bunch of gold over to my main. As you can see, each one of these is dropping a little bit of silver and some experience, a little bit more for the group leader, but I'd rather have that go to my priest anyways, as it is. So, yeah. And over time, I'll get a DPS set of gear and whatnot together, and I'll probably run most of these dailies as DPS and not as healer, as you see I am. Just like a point of conversation is, it's nice to run heals for like progression rating. That's really what I'm focused on. You can do things like Mystica or other things like that much more effectively as a hybrid healer, which is essentially a DPS player that is in, a healer that's in a DPS spec with some mixing of gear. But I raid lead a weekly raid group, and it's a lot better for me to just be in like a PvE spec at most times, and I can generally get someone to carry a shepherd through Mystica. Not just generally like me needing carries, but a lot of the DPS timers are pretty tight in Mystica, and there's no real like space for people not having enough DPS. Like Dread Blast 3, for example, you need about 100k DPS, and unless you have some like really solid players with you, which I generally can find people to help me out since I help them out in other ways, you're going to be a little bit tight without a hybrid healer with just a straight healer. I could go over my DPS here, like I could certainly bring it up, but as you can tell, it's nothing impressive, right? Me as healer, I can put out like 10k, 15k DPS in like actual progression, and that's partially because I've taken various skills to increase damage for people in my group, as well as my actual damage when my sigil's out, and other things like that. When it comes down to the healing world, damage is essentially how we amplify our healing, so that sort of translates back and forth, just as a point of context. But yeah, so we're just going to run 3 of these Goblin Camps, and then after that we're going to run the Offering to the Ancient God, which is going to be Scar Plains and Dire Galleon. After that, if I actually have time, which I will today since we're doing a video, we are going to run the heroics. There's 2 heroics that you can get. And one, they're good for medals, not the best, but they're okay for medals and altruism medals, which is something you want to get on a daily basis, so you can buy other items with it. And then they're also excellent for getting a group of like 10 people together, and I'll show you guys why after that. But so we just head right back into Goblin Camp here. But I'll show you why after that, because like heroics, allow me to get they're required for me to have 7 or more people to actually start them. So when it comes down to it, you have these 40-player guild hunts all over the map, and let's see if we actually have some up at this at this time. We don't, right? So that's a bit of a thing in my plans. I usually do this in the afternoon. It's the morning right now. But so what I do is, once I've already got 10 people in my group, I go and fight one of the actual tougher mobs. I just transport us right in. We drop in, we kill like Flash or Moo over here, or the Bellicose Ironhoof. Let's see, what was my character doing? Okay. And then additionally, let's make sure the star is set. This is a terrible star for killing things. Okay, cool. Doing our last one here. Okay, and as you guys notice, I've gotten 30 stam per Goblin Camp. I'm at 60 to 200 right now. And yeah, this will basically fill up the rest of my stam when it comes down to it, and then I can farm herbs with that and rinse and repeat, dailies. There is trial quests as well, which I'll probably end up doing today. But because the holiday event is here, dailies are one thing, right? You have 311, which is essentially what I've described. 311 refers to 3 goblin camps and then 2 dungeons to fulfill the offering quest, right? So let's see. And then after that, you can do pretty much whatever you want to, right? So I know the goblin camps aren't, included on here, but you have the divine sacrificial offering, right? That's what I'm referring to in the 1-1. The terminology has changed a little bit these days, but a lot of people still call it that. There's a little bit of history on why it might or might not be called that these days, but that's what people still call it. As far as this dungeon run. So you have your supply and delivery quests that you certainly can do. Casual arena, which you use the battle queue here, and then you can queue for any of the casual arenas. I like Wind Whisper Survival. I can usually get 2 kills and get in the top 50%, and that's just 1 queue for 6. And I'll bring it up here in a second. Just keep the group moving. For 6 of these emblems right here. And what you can do with these is you can then, these are called casual arena medals, you can then go to, and I'm still working on upgrading it, but you can upgrade your treasure with those actual medals, which works out pretty good. The treasure has like a ton of inscription slots that you can put on it, and as you see, I'm getting a ton of bonuses, from this. We'll have to see about the actual healing amount that, or based on like what glyphs I'm actually using on here, but these are just the ones that I chose. Whether they're the best or not, I still have to explore. But like I said, the playstyle that I'm playing for is more like enjoy the journey. I'm all about optimizing, but there's not really going to be a ton of that until I get like higher level gear and I hit certain thresholds where it's now worth it to start spending these resources. I heard top player homegrown or one of his cadre mentioned that it's pretty much pointless for me to reforge or use other resources until I get like gear at a certain level, which I can agree with. One, it just introduces like a expectation of waiting, a little bit of patience, and just says, hey, I'm not going to rush this quality. I'm going to wait because this is a long-term game anyways, and I'm going to farm until I get to a certain point of confidence where I can then spend those resources. So yeah, okay, cool. This should be, I believe, our last Goblin Camp because just going over it, each boss gives you 15 stam, right? So I'm getting 30 per round, and this is definitely the last one. So we'll be at 90 stam, and if we did another dungeon, it wouldn't continue to give me loot. So what I'm here for is all these loot drops and silver and other things like that, that have come from this that I can then dismantle those loot drops. And yeah, cool. Yeah, easy boss, super, super easy bosses. A good place to practice mechanics for Mystica, for sure. But yeah, definitely not necessary. It's a pretty tough fight. Pretty tough fight. Okay, so we've got these done now. And let's see. So we're still at the 90 from the Goblin Camp. So what we can do is we're going to form squad, and we're going to go right into Scarplane's Rook, because these are the 2 that are available for this week. And like I said, a lot of these guys are AFK and whatnot, so I'm happy to use them for, whatever I need. Yeah, some flax, nice. And I can always, like, if I need more people, I can always, like, post to World. I would love to go do Witch real quick, but I'm going to stay focused on what we're actually doing here. Alright, let's ask my guild, see if I need a few bodies for wards and then hunt after. Oh, cool. We got somebody. Not too much more difficult. Lower level player might, you know, be able to pull everything. I'm not really sure what stats you actually need to pull everything. It's sort of irrelevant, but you know, it is nice if you have a more motivated lead that's willing to like group everything up, and you just sort of AoE it down, and it, you know, just things go a lot quicker. So I'll have to see. We shall have to see. Other things like that anymore, and he just wants to be who he is at the end of the story. And there's no reason why. Now let's see what is the other one? Dark Alien? Let me get this show on the road. Let's see if everybody's on follow. Is everybody on follow? Yeah, fuck it. There we go. And the altruism medals are nice, you know, because they just introduced, you know, the ability to buy pretty nice gear from. Oh. Did I select heroic? I did. Good. Did I miss somebody? Hey, little guy, you can come in. Why not? We got more than enough people. Yeah, helping lower players is fine too. You know, we're going to be doing some trials here in just a second too, so yeah, perfect. I don't think I'm going to go through the like entire dailies run as far as like, you know, yeah, let me get straightened out here. And toss this on auto match so I don't have to deal with people applying. Beautiful. And cool. Alright. And let's see, do we actually have hunts? No, there are no hunts up. That is lame. I am not going to do this in the mornings anymore, so yeah, you know, it's whatever. So, alright, cool. So this is like the last of our heroics, and I think the last thing that I'll actually do is, you know, probably trial quests here, because you know I've already got both my alts. I'm certainly like at various intervals going to go through and you know do supply delivery. I'll do casual arena. I'll go collect the faction crystals. Like these are like small, like quick 5-minute things that you can do if you want to. You don't also have to do them, but you know we've already gotten the divine offering out of the way. I know it hasn't like shown that it's collected yet, but I've definitely finished it. So I just have to. You have to turn that in to actually get the rewards. Let's make sure to bid on that. Oh, whatever. Doesn't really matter. They're cool to have. It's nice, like I was showing you earlier. You know, it's nice to be able to buy like these really nice sets or other high-level sets or whatnot. I was able to get one of the pieces I needed from Cleansing Chains through this. But yeah, when it comes down to it, you don't really have to buy medals. You don't have to buy Frost Hearts. Those things sort of just come over time. So yeah, it's whatever. Okay, here we go. Yeah, buddy. Look at that crazy, crazy Shepherd damage. Whoa. Crazy. I'm not even on the charts. That's how amazing it is. Yeah. Alright. So, last boss. Definitely going to trim this video down. It's a longer one. We'll definitely just sort of like, we'll do whatever with it, but maybe we'll do like just like clips of, you know, other things like that, or just a little bit more of a shorter informational. You don't see on a lot of servers where we're helping people actually do organized raids at, you know, a mid-level content. So yeah, everybody's gonna be heading out after this because that's basically it, and I will do the same. And then I'm gonna kick my alt out because I don't want to be left in group. So like what I was saying earlier is I can just then create a group up again. And normally I'd go and do a hunt. I wouldn't have left my group there. I would go and do one of these Sardar Highlands, you know, tougher bosses that just sort of roam and whatnot. And you can get tokens from for like stat increases and other things like that. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, Lucky knows I'm doing a hunt after I do heroics, so perfect. It works out great. Alright, so we wanted to do trials. Let's go to our daily events, and as you guys see, you know, I've gotten all the chests and whatnot, so let's get things set up. We're going to get Alcon in here, because, well, why not? Seriously? Ah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So, my alt had a invite up. Now I'm going to have to actually get in through that way. But my alt had an invite up from another player, and I didn't know that when it came down to it, if that was already on the screen and you send even a Brotherhood invite, which allows you to auto-invite and those kinds of things between your characters, I didn't know that if there was already up on the screen, it would not go through. Okay, cool. So, you know, with trials and whatnot, you basically just form up a team, come here to the area, and drop a couple invites in to any nearby players. Let's get anybody else, you know, on the actual team here. And boom, trial quest. And this is really like the last part of the dailies. This is something I don't really pay attention to while I do it. This is something you pretty much just do on auto, and I check in like, well, every 15 minutes or every 10 minutes on my phone or whatnot. But this is probably a pretty good place to end this. And you know, just as a note, like always being efficient and other things like that. You know, set your star cores whenever you're in groups. Just look for like a player that looks like they put a reasonable amount of effort into it, or just go through and check everybody's stars. Whoops. But yeah, when it comes down to it, there's not much really else beyond that. You know, you have Goblin Camp, which is 3-1-1. You have your heroics, right? The 1-1 part is obviously the offering to the ancient god, and then you can do your trials, right? Outside of holiday events, that's primarily what you have available for you to do. And you know, let's say before we start doing any quests here, I've gotten 150 stam from this adventure, right? So 90 on the actual runs, and then 60 for the actual runs beyond that. So you know, it looks like you're getting 30 per dungeon up to a certain reward point. Each of these trials I know is going to give me, I believe, 1 stam per trial. There's a list on NetEase's site that I can include here that shows you the stam rewards for doing stuff in game, and that stam is how you make money, right? I know plenty of other people have gone over this, and I may go over it myself, but stamina, depleting that, and then doing your dailies, depleting that, doing your dailies is essentially the cycle of making a good amount of gold in this game. There are other ways to do that, but they're not as efficient, and it's really not that hard to farm and convert a few things and put it on the market. So yeah, you know, you can make like 15,000 a day in gold, and that's good enough for me. You know, a few weeks I have a legendary, and that's essentially how I've proceeded here with some other like benefits or things that drop and give me a little bit of extra loot. There's not really much beyond that, like as far as like accelerating that. So just as a note, like once you're done with your actual dungeons, just go through and make sure to like dismantle all your loot, because, well, bag space and other things like that. You can use the group dismantle option, which is awesome. I wouldn't want to do all this on a regular basis. A D0, I can't translate that to anything else, so another D0, both sort of garbage anyways. But yeah, dismantle that. As you can see, I got a bunch of like arcane and bloodline and phantom essences and some star shavings and silver, so works out pretty good. Yeah, those got to get dismantled. It's too bad since they're perfect, but whatever. I'm finishing all my like level 40 slots right now, so okay, cool. Don't want to ramble too much longer. Like I said, 3-1-1. Do your trial quests, you do your heroics, do a hunt, try and do any like actual holiday dailies or other things like that. This one's pretty nice right now because you know you can snag a certain amount of these autumn milks, and then you turn those in for like a pouch of level 40 gems, and that's the thing I'm focusing on, is getting my gems to like 50, right, across the board, or at least like 40 plus across the board with reasonably good stats. So yeah, it works out pretty good. And I should get my like other 5 for the day here, so you know, just snag my gem box while I'm here. Okay, cool. This is Fakawi on Neverland Lakes, and it's been good just chatting with you guys because I just didn't see a lot of this information out there. For some of you guys, it's irrelevant. For some of you guys, you already know. For the others, I'm glad that you were able to get something out of this. So I really appreciate you guys' time, and as always, good luck on the game, and make sure you make gaming meaningful.